Hello, I am Liz Summers. I am a self-employed work-from-home computer programmer for 35 and a half years. I'm nearly 66, so I started when I was 30 years old. At any rate, I live in rural northwest Montana, and I've lived in this house and cooked in this particular kitchen for nearly 15 years. I'm a scratch cook and a sourdough baker, a bread baker for many years, sourdough for the last 5. And although I am a one-person household, I take great care in preparing meals that are delicious, that are varied, and I like to present them nicely as well. Additionally, I like food that's supposed to be hot and crispy when I set it on my plate. So I am also an amateur photographer and have just recently started dipping my toes into videography and more complex, the video editing. Now, I watched a Food 52 video that I took exception to as far as method and timing, and in the comments, as I was going back and forth with another commenter, it was suggested that I put my money where my mouth is, basically, and show my version of how I think this should be done. So that's why this video. Now, if you'd like to jump to the part of this video that's actually the recipe part and the putting together of all the ingredients the way I believe they should be done to get them in best condition to the table, I'm going to leave some timestamps below, and you can skip all my little explanations here. But about the buns, my objection in the video was that the buns were toasted at the beginning of the recipe. In fact, the presenter said, the first thing we need to do is toast the buns. And I said, no, that's the last thing we need to do. Truly, we need to toast the buns last, right before we put the hot fish on the buns. And I understand it was an editing decision, and I also understand that the video was sponsored by a commercial bun and bread maker, so the buns needed to be featured in that video. But I think there was some teaching opportunity there that was missed. It could have been presented that way, but also some sort of verbal comment that, maybe that step should be taken at different times, so that they were crispy at the time you put the fish on them. But that's what I intend to illustrate in the video. I also objected to the presenter when she was preparing the batter for the fish, saying that lumps happened and that they did not matter. They don't need to happen, and I believe they do matter. So I am also going to illustrate how to make a fish batter, or it's the same technique that would be used to make gravy or to make any sauce where you're combining a liquid with a set of dry ingredients, and you need to get those absorbed in a way that does not allow the dry ingredients to clump up and make lumps. One last item that has nothing to do with the rebuttal, but I had hoped to film this on my kitchen island, like the pros do, with my range and counter behind me, and have all the work on the island. But it is a very gray, rainy day here in Montana, and I do not have studio lighting. And I did some testing this morning, and the lighting was best if I worked on the kitchen counter. So I have done this intro like this so that you can see my face, but most of the cooking video you're going to see only my hands and what happens during the cooking process. Oh wait, one more thing about the buns. I am not using a commercial bun like the original video. I am using a homemade sweet potato sourdough bun. It's an adaptation of a recipe from Romel in a Food 52 video titled fried chicken sandwich on sweet potato bun. The recipe also has a mustard honey tarragon aioli, and I am using that instead of the mayonnaise dressing that's in the Food 52 video that I am rebutting. Just personal preference, taste-wise. I'll leave a link to Romel Bruno's recipe below. It's a great recipe. Thanks, and here we go. Here's what happens when an amateur makes a food video. I started making the aioli before I got the camera rolling. So, I do this like I make mayonnaise. Egg yolks in the bottom, then mustard, then the vinegar. This recipe uses honey, so I added the honey. And now I'm going to get the camera set up, pour in the oil, and start the emulsion process. I'll add the spices last. Okay, camera rolling for the aioli. As noted, this is the order for the ingredients. The eggs, the mustard, the acid, which in this case is vinegar, and the oil. Let that settle for a bit. The trick with mayonnaise and the aioli is to start first plug in the blender. To start slow. So you see the emulsion begin. That's all it takes to make mayonnaise as well. Out of camera, I have the oil on a medium-low burner on the range top. I'll be moving that to the induction. So we have a mix of our seasoned flour and the beer. And as noted, the way to get lump-free is to do it a little bit at a time. Put a little bit of beer in that. Nice smooth batter. No lumps. While the oil is coming up to temperature, I'm going to split the buns. Now, these are not the Wonder Bread consistency of the buns in the video, but they are very soft. My preferred method, as opposed to under the broiler, is actually to use a grill pan and brush the buns with either some mayo or some melted butter. Get the pan very hot and put a lid over, like so. The buns will get crispy with nice grill marks on the downside, but the lid on top will keep the tops nice and soft, which is really what we want. But I'm going to stick with the method just to show that the timing is possible. Okay, the oil is very close. And by the way, it's rice bran oil. It's batter, flour, butter, oil. I started a timer at 2 minutes. There's the first piece of fish out. And as the second, which is my last piece, goes in the oil. I'm going to butter the buns. Put them under the broiler. Hot toasty buns. Everything's still probably too hot to eat, but yum. Soft bun that will hold together to this fish. Oh, delicious aioli. Okay, I know I got to show this. Hot. Delicious.